Yo, Diddy's trial just exploded with some wild revelations. A male escort took the stand and started dropping serious bombs about what went down between him.
One time, Cassie asked me to, urinate.
On her,
On
Diddy and Cassie, and it didn't stop there. He said some messed up stuff that even had Diddy's own daughters leaving the courtroom in tears. Let's dive into the shocking details. The federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs kicked off on May 12, 2025, in a Manhattan courthouse after months of waiting since his arrest in September 2024. The hip-hop mogul finally had to face the music, with a jury set to decide if he's heading to prison for decades. Diddy's facing 5 serious charges: racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. The feds allege that Combs ran his business empire like a criminal organization, orchestrating sex trafficking, coerced sexual performances called freak-offs, and other shady dealings spanning 20 years. The 55-year-old hip-hop boss showed up to court looking nothing like his jail photos, dressed in a gray-beige sweater and a clean, formal fit. He seemed in decent spirits, flashing heart gestures and thumbs up to family in the gallery, court. Artists captured the scene since cameras aren't allowed in federal court. Before things kicked off, Combs told Judge Aaron Subramanian, "I'm a little nervous today. This whole case started from a string of civil lawsuits, mainly the Bombshell 2023 filing by Combs' ex, singer Cassie Ventura. That case got settled quickly, but sparked a wave of additional civil suits and a federal investigation. The feds got hold of a 2016 hotel surveillance video CNN dropped in 2024 showing Combs physically assaulting Ventura, footage that became key evidence at trial. The trial began with jury selection, picking 12 jurors, 6 men, 6 women, plus 6 alternates from over 600 potential jurors. They got grilled hard about what they knew of the case, experiences with sexual assault or domestic violence, thoughts on hip-hop, and views on alternative sexual lifestyles. Combs showed up with a heavy-hitting defense team led by Mark Agnello, Tenny Karagos, and Brian Steele, top lawyers with experience in major cases. His mom, Janice Combs, and several of his grown kids sat in the gallery supporting him. In opening statements, the prosecution went all in, accusing Combs of being a manipulative kingpin who used his fame, money, and empire to exploit women. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson described Combs as committing crime after crime with his crew, including kidnapping, arson, bribery, drug distribution, and witness tampering. She broke down the freak-offs as multi-day, drug-fueled sexual performances with coerced women and male escorts, often recorded without consent. Johnson claimed Combs used drugs like ketamine and X to keep victims obedient and blackmailed them with the recordings. She focused heavily on Cassie Ventura, alleging Combs forced her into sexual acts with male escorts, physically abused her, and controlled her through threats and financial dependence. Another victim named Jane was also mentioned, who was allegedly coerced into freak-offs and faced violence like Combs kicking down her door. Johnson stressed this case isn't about Combs' celebrity or sexual preferences, but about crimes of coercion, promising to bring solid evidence, including the 2016 surveillance video showing Combs' pattern of violence. The defense took a different approach, admitting Combs has a temper and a history of violence, but arguing it was just toxic relationship, drama, not sex trafficking or racketeering. Tenny Karagos described Combs as a swinger whose freak-offs and sexual encounters were consensual and part of a lifestyle common in entertainment. They challenged witness credibility, suggesting some were chasing money through civil suits, and noted that victims didn't report incidents to police at the time, implying consent. The defense also questioned the 2016 video, claiming it showed a complicated, consensual relationship with Ventura and tried unsuccessfully to argue the footage was manipulated, though CNN stood by its authenticity. The prosecution's first witness was Israel Flores, now an LAPD officer who was a security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. in March 2016, when the surveillance video was recorded. Flores testified about responding to a distress call from Ventura on the hotel's 6th floor, where he found her with a purple eye and hooded jacket, desperate to leave while Combs blocked her exit. Flores said Combs had a devilish look and offered him cash to stay quiet, which Flores refused. The jury watched the footage showing Combs wearing just a towel, chasing Ventura down a hallway, hitting her, throwing her to the ground, kicking.
Earlier in the show that after being in court yesterday for the opening statements and the first couple witness testimonies, I think that Diddy could potentially get off. His legal team is really like that. Now here's
her twice, dragging her and smashing a glass vase. Prosecutors said this happened during a freak-off, but the defense insisted it was a domestic dispute. During cross-examination, defense attorney Brian Steele attacked Flores's credibility, pointing out his incident report omitted key details like Ventura's black eye and Combs' expression, trying to cast doubt on his memory or truthfulness. The surveillance video became a major piece of evidence. The second prosecution witness was Daniel Phillip, a 41-year-old male escort and former manager of a male strip show. His testimony shook the courtroom. Phillip gave graphic details about freak-offs Combs allegedly ran between 2012 and 2014. He said he got paid to have sex with Cassie Ventura, while Combs watched, directed, and sometimes recorded everything. These freak-offs took place in rooms across New York, Los Angeles, and other cities, sometimes lasting up to 10 hours straight. Phillip said he was paid between $700 and $6,000 per session, always cash, with Ventura handling communication and payment. Prices varied depending on duration.
Even engage in sexual activity with the two of them. And they haven't gotten to cross-examine him yet. Like, Diddy's team started, and then they had to stop.
What about the urination?
The urination thing.
Phillip claimed Combs recorded everything on his phone or camcorder, and even took a picture of Phillip's driver's license for insurance, which Phillip took as a threat to keep him quiet. He broke down their first meeting in 2012 at the Gramercy Park Hotel in New York. Ventura hit him up, asked for a photo first, then invited him to the hotel. Phillip thought he was booked for a bachelorette party, but when he showed up, it was just Ventura at the door wearing a wig and shades. Combs was there too, trying to hide his identity behind a bandana and ball cap, telling Phillip he was in the import-export business. Phillip recognized Diddy's voice immediately, but only confirmed it was him later when Combs answered the door in a suit. Ventura asked Phillip if he was comfortable just being with her, seeming to keep Combs from joining in, though Combs still ran the show from a corner while pleasuring himself. The most disturbing parts of Phillip's testimony were when he witnessed Combs physically abusing Ventura. In one incident, Combs threw a liquor bottle at Ventura for not coming into a room fast enough, then dragged her by her hair while she screamed, with Combs yelling, "Bitch, when I tell you to come here, you come here now, not later." In another situation at the Essex Hotel, Phillip heard Ventura crying and yelling, "I'm sorry," while slapping and slamming noises suggested Combs was beating her. Afterward, Ventura ran to Phillip, shaking, and jumped into his lap. Phillip said he told Ventura to leave Combs, warning her she was in danger, but she stayed in the relationship. He never reported the abuse to police because he feared for his life due to Combs' power and the implied threat from having his driver's license photo. Phillip testified that he mainly kept in touch with Ventura through texts, checking on her well-being and occasionally meeting up to make sure she was okay. Under cross-examination, he denied having feelings for Ventura beyond their professional connection, but admitted to a bond and said he would have dated her if given the chance. He described Combs as having a...
He randomly was just like recounting their experiences, and he just came out and said, yeah, like, because they were asking him, what are some of the things you would have to do? He said, well, one time Cassie asked me to, urinate.
On her.
Like the jurors, when he got into, like, because he was speaking directly about Cassie and the fact that Cassie allegedly asked him to do it. And that's why he did it. And he was saying that at first he didn't know how to...
Hair trigger temper that turned violent quickly. Phillip detailed how Combs controlled every aspect of the freak-offs, giving specific instructions about sexual acts and the use of baby oil, which later showed up in the indictment when large quantities were seized from Combs' properties. One of the most shocking twists in Phillips' testimony involved allegations about a golden shower during one of these encounters. Initial reports from the prosecution suggested Combs forced a male escort to urinate in Cassie's mouth, but when Phillip got on the stand, he flipped the script completely. He mentioned meeting another man.
I was sitting behind them. It was awkward for me to watch them have to listen to all of this. After he started, the male escort started getting into a lot of the masturbation and stuff, they got up.
Male escort during a freak-off, describing him as a black male with a slender build, and they exchanged numbers. Phillip said multiple escorts were involved in similar situations across cities like New York, Los Angeles, Miami, and Atlanta. These encounters happened regularly over the 2-year period, with Phillip participating multiple times, though he hadn't seen Combs in person for at least 10 years before the trial. The graphic nature of Phillip's testimony visibly affected people in the courtroom. Combs' daughters, Chance, Delilah, and Jessie, left the courtroom in tears on May 12th, unable to handle the detailed accounts of their father's alleged actions. Combs looked tense as Phillip spilled all the details, sitting back in his chair. Defense. Attorney Xavier Donaldson cross-examined Phillip on May 13th, focusing on Ventura's role in the encounters to suggest she was a willing participant. Donaldson asked if Ventura was in complete control of her actions and whether she appeared drunk or high, trying to cast doubt on claims of coercion. Phillip recalled only one instance where Ventura seemed under the influence. The defense also tried to suggest Phillip had feelings for Ventura, which he denied beyond their professional relationship, and questioned his male review.
Sitting next to that, you have the prosecutor, you have the defense attorney opening up and saying he is, if he was being charged with domestic violence today, he would be guilty. They owned up to all of
it. Business practices, possibly trying to damage his credibility. Phillip admitted he was initially drawn to these encounters because he was excited to be around celebrities, but got disillusioned after witnessing Combs' abuse. He described being shocked after the first encounter, saying he didn't know what just happened. Phillip's testimony backed up key elements of the indictment, especially regarding the coercive nature of the freak-offs and Combs' use of violence and intimidation. His account aligned with Ventura's 2023 civil lawsuit, alleging similar abuse, and helped kick off the federal charges. By bringing Phillip to the stand early, prosecutors were establishing a pattern connecting the freak-offs to the racketeering and sex trafficking charges. His testimony supported claims that Combs used his empire to facilitate and cover up crimes. The defense, led by Mark Agnafilo and Tenny Goragos, kept insisting these encounters were consensual, part of Combs' swinger lifestyle, and not evidence of trafficking or racketeering. They admitted Combs had domestic violence issues, but denied the federal crimes. Cross-examination focused on Ventura's agency, asking if she initiated contact and requested specific acts like urination, suggesting she was a willing participant. This highlighted the defense's strategy to frame the freak-offs as consensual. Adult choices. Phillip's testimony set the stage for Cassie Ventura's own testimony, scheduled for May 13th and 14th, 2025, as a key witness. Her account would either strengthen or weaken the prosecution's case, built through Phillip and other evidence. With the courtroom still shaken from Phillip's graphic revelations, all eyes turned to Cassie, whose testimony would be crucial in determining if Diddy was headed to prison or walking free. Cassie Ventura, the prosecution's star witness, took the stand on May 13th and 14th to tell her side of the story about her relationship with Sean Diddy Combs. Her testimony was highly anticipated since she was at the center of the allegations that led to the criminal charges. Ventura's testimony backed up many of Phillip's claims. She described the freak-offs as humiliating drug-fueled events Combs forced her into that, left her feeling violated and degraded. She confirmed Phillip's statements about hiring escorts through platforms like Craigslist and Cowboys for Angels and detailed Combs' violent behavior, including incidents of dragging, kicking, and smashing her head against walls, her account. matched Phillips regarding how often these encounters happened, sometimes weekly, and where, New York, Los Angeles, Miami, Atlanta, Turks and Caicos, and Ibiza. She also confirmed Combs used recordings to control her, similar to Phillips' claim about the driver's license photo used for insurance. The alignment between their testimonies strengthened the prosecution's case, establishing a consistent pattern across multiple witnesses. This was crucial since the defense was trying hard to question witness credibility. Ventura's testimony expanded on allegations from her 2023 civil lawsuit, which got settled quickly but triggered the broader investigation. She named specific escorts involved in the freak-offs, including one called the Punisher, and described the excessive use of baby oil and the hotel room damage that usually resulted from these encounters. Her demeanor on the stand was tearful, but composed, recounting humiliating experiences in open court, which resonated with observers. Pregnant and visibly emotional, Ventura's presence humanized the allegations in a way that connected with people watching. One of the biggest bombshells in Ventura's testimony was her reference to major celebrities involved in the freak-offs. Although specific names weren't publicly disclosed, this revelation had everyone speculating who else might be implicated and raised questions about why more celebrities haven't spoken out about Combs' alleged behavior. The trial has generated massive interest not just for the wild details, but for its potential fallout in the entertainment industry. Dubbed America's celebrity trial of the century, it has everyone wondering who else might get dragged into this mess. As the case unfolds, several celebrities have been mentioned in connection with Diddy's case, though their levels of involvement vary widely. Some are named as alleged participants, witnesses, or associates, while others are mentioned casually without accusations of wrongdoing. The jury selection process itself referenced various celebrities, with potential jurors asked if they were familiar with figures like Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, and others. This doesn't suggest these individuals did anything wrong, but indicates their potential relevance to the case. Some celebrities have been directly named in related lawsuits. For example, Jay-Z was named in a December 2024 amended civil complaint filed by an anonymous plaintiff who alleged she was drugged and assaulted by both Combs and Jay-Z in 2000 when she was 13 years old. Jay-Z hasn't publicly commented on the lawsuit and no criminal charge.
Who told him to leave? Did Diddy say leave or?
No, Diddy didn't tell him to leave. I don't know if there was a conversation or not. I looked up from writing and I saw them get up.
Charges have been filed against him related to this case. Others like Young Miami, Karashia Brownlee, were mentioned in Rodney Lil Rod Jones's amended complaint filed in February 2024, which alleged she was part of Combs' sex trafficking operation. Young Miami has denied these allegations on social media. The reaction from celebrities to the trial and the shocking testimony has been very quiet. Many who used to associate with Combs, either at his lavish parties or in music collaborations, have gone radio silent. This silence likely comes from legal caution, fear of being implicated, or uncertainty about the truth of the allegations. A few brave souls have spoken out. Singer Jaguar Wright, known for being outspoken about the music industry, has publicly supported the alleged victims in Combs' trial. Musician Albie Shore, who shares a son with Combs' late ex Kim Porter, has expressed doubts about Combs' actions and backed investigations into the broader allegations. Actor Corey Feldman commented on Combs' arrest back in October 2024, saying, "It's disgusting, and I'm so grateful that justice is being served." While this came before Phillips' testimony, it reflects sentiments among some celebrities who see the trial as accountability finally showing up. Fan reactions to Daniel Phillips' testimony have been divided on the social media platform X. Some were shocked and disgusted by the graphic details, while others questioned the credibility of witnesses and the prosecution's motives. Supporters of the accusers view Phillips' testimony as credible and backing up Ventura's claims, often framing it as evidence of systemic abuse within Combs' empire, aligning with the prosecution's criminal
Is the video didn't happen because of a bad freak off. They're saying the video happened because of a bad argument.
Don't matter why it's happened. I just don't think
Well, they gotta prove it.
I don't think that the jurors are going to be able to separate that video from their mind.
Enterprise narrative. On the other hand, Combs' defenders question the testimony's credibility and the prosecution's motives, suggesting the explicit nature of the testimony is sensationalized to take Combs down. Others argue that the encounters described were consensual, echoing the defense's framing of Combs as part of a swinger's lifestyle rather than a criminal enterprise. The presence of Combs' family in the courtroom has been a major focus of public reaction. The moment his daughters left,
Third day, they would drink, party, be merry, and the men would have sex with each other.
during Phillips' graphic testimony was widely discussed on social media and in news reports, highlighting the personal toll of the proceedings and influencing public sentiment. Experts have noted the significance of the trial's use of the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, to target Combs' business empire. Phillips' testimony about the systematic nature of the freak-offs supports the prosecution's claim of a criminal enterprise. A conviction could set a precedent for using RICO against celebrities accused of systemic abuse, potentially changing how similar cases are handled in the future. The trial has also sparked speculation about other
who believe in the cult was looking for that moon on 12/12 at 12 a.m. And they were doing spiritual rituals at that time.
high-profile figures potentially implicated in freak-offs. Attorney Tony Busby, representing multiple plaintiffs in civil cases against Combs, has sent demand letters to unnamed A-list celebrities, suggesting potential lawsuits or settlements to avoid public naming. This has heightened fears among celebrities about reputational damage, even if they are not directly implicated. Judge Aaron Subramanian's decision to bar freak-off video
Homages to certain sacrifices and homages to certain idols. And on the third day, they would drink, party, be merry, and the men would have sex with each other.
from open court, citing potential re-traumatization of victims, limits public access to key evidence. This underscores the sensitivity of the testimony, but may fuel skepticism about the case's transparency. As the trial continues, expected to last 8 to 10 weeks, more witnesses will likely take the stand, potentially revealing additional details about Combs' alleged criminal enterprise. The prosecution plans to call 3 or 4 accusers, including Ventura and possibly anonymous witnesses, to further establish a pattern of coercion and abuse. The case highlights broader issues of power dynamics in the entertainment industry, particularly coercion and abuse enabled by fame and wealth. It has reignited discussions about accountability for powerful figures, drawing comparisons to cases like R. Kelly's. For Combs, the stakes couldn't be higher. If convicted on all counts, he faces major prison time. For his accusers, including Cassie Ventura and the Escorts who have come forward, the trial represents a chance for vindication and justice after years of alleged abuse. As one commentator noted during trial coverage, regardless of the outcome, the graphic testimony and evidence have already permanently changed how people see Sean Diddy Combs, and raised serious questions about power, consent, and accountability in the entertainment industry. Whether the jury will be able to put aside the disturbing video evidence and testimony during deliberations, and whether they'll see Combs' actions as criminal exploitation or just toxic relationship drama, remains the big question as the trial moves forward. The outcome could have major ripple effects not just for Combs and his accusers, but for how the entire entertainment industry deals with issues of power abuse and accountability going forward. According to his former bodyguard, Gene Deal, when Diddy was a free man, he used to perform crazy initiation rituals. The Lil Rod court documents show how Diddy, alongside Universal Music Group executives and other associates, is allegedly part of a gang that lets Diddy groom and kill artists like Usher, Bieber, and Biggie. Now that he's in prison, the same. Prison where Epstein died. These initiation rituals he used to blackmail and groom people with have taken on a much darker tone. Here's the truth about the prison, called Hell on Earth, and Diddy's house of terrors and rituals. Tragically, the downfall of the music producer and rapper is accompanied by a series of dirty secrets coming to light. One horrifying secret is his gang initiation ritual, characterized by paying homage to certain spirits at midnight during the full moon, followed by a night of endless homosexual activities among the initiates. This information comes from Gene Deal, a former celebrity bodyguard who did extensive protection work for Bad Boy Records and was P Diddy's personal bodyguard for years. He was even present the night rapper the Notorious B.I.G. was shot and killed. Gene Deal explained that on the last day of the ritual, after the full moon has been sighted and the seasons change, the men would exchange gifts as they drink and marry, then wrap up the night by engaging in sexual acts with each other. Comments from the public reveal Gene Deal has a lot to say about these rituals. The ritual Gene Deal described is called the cremation of care, which traditionally involves burning a baby or child as a sacrifice.
Took a year off straight working on this album. That album is the Love album, Off the Grid by Diddy. And it's Grammy nominated right now as we speak. I should be celebrating, but the truth is I'm not.
To a deity called Moloch. Most elites celebrate this at Bohemian Grove. The roots go back to Roman festivals dedicated to the god Saturnius, popularized by Emperor Caligula. This ritual is more based in Satanism than what most people call paganism. However, Gene Deal is not the only one speaking out about the shocking lifestyle surrounding Diddy and his circle. Usher, who was entrusted to Diddy's custody at the age of 13, shared that he saw very curious things while living with the music mogul. The You Got It Bad musician appeared on The Howard Stern Show in 2016 and talked about spending a year living with Diddy when he was 13. He recalled that famous artists like Biggie Smalls, Lil' Kim, Craig Mack, Faith Evans, and Mary J. Blige were also around at the time. When asked if he stayed up until 4 a.m. partying with Diddy and his aunt,
Diddy, him and his boy, they're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose.
Entourage, Usher said he could, and often stayed up longer than them. In a 2004 Rolling Stone interview, Usher revealed that P Diddy exposed him to a different lifestyle, especially a different style of sex. He explained that in the industry, there were always girls around, and you could open a door and see people engaging in sexual activity, never knowing what was going to happen next. In February 2024, Usher opened up again to People magazine about the wild lifestyle he experienced at Diddy's Flavor Camp. He recalled meeting some of the biggest names in the industry at a very young age and witnessing the making of some of the greatest albums. He remembered hearing Outkast making their first records, watching Rico Wade work on songs, and even sleeping in Wade's living room. Usher described being in the dungeon and just trying to figure out who was who. When Howard Stern asked if he would send his own son to one of those flavor camps to get the same experience, Usher's answer was a firm no. His response revealed a deeper meaning. He was not about to make the same mistake of sending his child into that world. Many people reacted strongly to this interview, noting the pain in Usher's eyes as he spoke. Comments from listeners expressed sympathy, with one saying Usher's answer said everything about his experience, and another noting the haunting impact of what he went through. Producer Lil Rod's grooming into Diddy's lifestyle has been described as one of the craziest experiences of his life. When Diddy called Lil Rod to be part of the brains behind his The Love album, his life changed dramatically. The initiation ritual process was terrifying, shocking, and diabolical, but Lil Rod endured it because it came with the promise of a Grammy. Rodney Lil Rod Jones Jr. spoke out for the first time since filing a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs in February. In the lawsuit, Lil Rod alleged that Combamez sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened him while he...
A temporary restraining order was granted. I've signed it. And so we'll get that processed and back to you, and then you'll have to obviously serve that on the parties.
He traveled and lived with the rapper between September 2022 and November 2023. In an interview with Rolling Stone, the 38-year-old music producer said he feared for his safety and life and described Diddy as a monster. Lil Rod also claimed Diddy didn't pay him for producing 9 songs on the album. He said, "I'm broke. I have no source of income right now. Every month I'm trying to figure out how the bills are going to get paid. Here I am standing up for justice for what I believe is right for my life, and I'm being punished for that. I'm blackballed for sure." Before delving deeper into Lil Rod's allegations, there is disturbing footage of Diddy with young Justin Bieber, detailing how their next 48 hours together were supposed to unfold. At the time, many were concerned about what an adult was doing with a 14-year-old in an undisclosed location and engaging in undisclosed activities. In a shocking turn, an inmate filed a $100 million lawsuit against Diddy over traumatic events. That happened in a Michigan nightclub in 1997. Derek Cardalou Smith, an inmate at Ernest C. Brooks Correctional Facility in Michigan with a history of filing lawsuits, claimed he was sexually assaulted by Diddy nearly 3 decades ago. According to the lawsuit, Smith and Diddy met while Smith was working at a Detroit restaurant in 1997. During a night of drinking and smoking weed, they reportedly had sex with a group of women. Smith said he felt a man's hand touching him, which he claims was Diddy's. Smith described being given a drink by Diddy that made him drowsy and start passing out. Diddy allegedly said, "I added a little something to it for you. I will get that from you anyway, one way or another." Smith provided prison visitation records showing Diddy's name logged, which supported his claim that Diddy offered him
Helms has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
$3 million to drop the lawsuit after it was filed. During an August hearing, Smith told the court that Diddy tried to persuade him to drop the $100 million lawsuit and accept an out-of-court settlement, saying, "You know how we get down." Smith replied,
"Inside this federal lockup, there have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here."
"I disagree with how you get down." The court granted Smith a restraining order. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnello, argued that Diddy was not properly served with the lawsuit and said they look forward to having the judgment dismissed. If the claims proceed, Smith would have to prove them in court. Earlier this year, federal agents raided 2 of Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles, fueling speculation that the rapper was heading down a similar path as R. Kelly. These suspicions were confirmed when Diddy was arrested in a Manhattan hotel just 24 hours after news of the $100 million judgment went viral. The arrest was based on a sealed federal grand jury indictment, and the charges were initially unclear. Sources told TMZ that the arrest, originally scheduled for Tuesday morning, happened earlier after Homeland Security surprised Diddy at a Midtown hotel where he was staying. The arrest was connected to an ongoing criminal investigation into alleged sex trafficking and other offenses, which also led to search warrants at Diddy's Beverly Hills and Miami homes. A courtroom sketch showed Diddy during his first court appearance following the indictment, where the charges against him were read. According to the 14-page indictment, Diddy faces charges including racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. At the hearing, he pleaded not guilty to all charges. Attempts to post bail failed, and he spent his first night in one of the world's most notorious jail facilities, known as Hell on Earth. Inside Edition reporter Les Trent described the facility as having horrible living conditions, which would be a difficult adjustment for someone used to luxury and comfort. Reports say Diddy had only a half-inch mattress, no pillow, a plastic chair, and a tiny space to move around. Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnello, described the facility as inhumane and a tragedy, and the legal team has offered his $48 million Miami Beach mansion and private jets as bail. They also offered to restrict female visitors to his home to just his mother, sisters, and mothers of his children. However, the judge refused these conditions and denied bail. CBS News reported that Diddy appeared calm and humble during his bail hearing. But the judge ruled that if released, he would likely tamper with evidence or witnesses. Prosecutors accused him of witness tampering, claiming his employees tried to prevent his ex-girlfriend Cassie and hotel staff from speaking about an assault that took place at a Los Angeles hotel 8 years ago. Video footage of Diddy kicking and stomping Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016 disappeared from the hotel server before being obtained and published by CNN. During Diddy's arrest, bags of pink powder were found in his hotel room. Though not tested, prosecutors believed it to be narcotics, similar to drugs found during the home raids, which tested positive for substances including ecstasy. During the same raid, 1,000 bottles of baby oil were also recovered from Diddy's residence. This is why some people believe it will be hard for Diddy to get out of this situation, considering he has spent his entire career working tirelessly, only to end up in prison. Authorities have interviewed over 50 witnesses and collected dozens of cell phones, laptops, and hard drives. They also have video evidence that allegedly shows coerced sex and other heinous acts Diddy is accused of. Orchestrating, let's not forget Lil Rod Jones's lawsuit filed in February. According to producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones and his 73-page court document, because his job required filming P Diddy at all times, he has secured 100 hours of footage showing Diddy, his associates, and guests engaging in illegal activities, including the use of ecstasy, drug distribution, and unregistered firearms. The lawsuit alleges that Diddy has been involved in sex trafficking and assault against Lil Rod and other victims, including minors. These accusations, along with the federal grand jury indictment, paint a terrifying picture of Diddy as an abuser and monster. In response, Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnello, warned that his client should not be mentioned in the same breath as some of the country's most notorious criminals. According to NBC News, Agnello said Combs is not like disgraced singer R. Kelly, sex cult leader Keith Raniere, or accused trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. He objected to the sex trafficking claims and referred to Diddy's alleged crimes as cheating and being unfaithful during a dark period. Agnello told the court, "This is different. These were consenting adults," and added humorously, "This is evidence not of sex trafficking but of being caught being unfaithful." In his bail hearing argument, Agnello reminded the court that Diddy was in a 10-year loving relationship during dark periods. Though the initial trial seemed unfavorable, Diddy's lawyer remains hopeful for bail to get his client out of jail. He revealed that Diddy planned on surrendering to authorities before being arrested in New York. Speaking to reporters, Agnello said, "Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence." He continued, asserting that nothing the government presented changed anyone's mind about Diddy's case. Diddy's arrest was not a surprise. The beginning of 2024 saw a wave of lawsuits and assault-related allegations rising against the rapper, making it only a matter of time before the feds acted. Reading the 14-page indictment was shocking. The charges against Diddy are serious and wide-ranging. The grand jury indictment accuses Sean Diddy Combs of 3 major charges linked to his lifestyle dating back to the 1990s during his peak fame. The first charge is racketeering conspiracy, alleging that over decades Diddy abused, threatened, and coerced men and women to fulfill his desires while protecting his reputation. Many wonder how he could do such vile things and still appear as a respectable figure. According to the indictment, Diddy relied on his employees, resources, and the influence of his vast business empire to create a criminal enterprise whose members engaged in crimes like trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The indictment reveals a disturbing pattern of abuse where Diddy manipulated women and others into orchestrated performances involving commercial sex workers, often for his pleasure. The federal grand jury labels many of Diddy's businesses and enterprises as a criminal enterprise, called the Coerced enterprise. Since 2008, until the filing of the indictment, members and associates of this enterprise allegedly engaged in trafficking and other crimes to fulfill Diddy's personal desires, especially involving women and commercial workers. The second count charges Diddy with trafficking, alleging that between 2009 and 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, he knowingly recruited, enticed, and transported a victim to engage in commercial sex through force, fraud, and coercion. The third count accuses Diddy of transportation to engage in prostitution, alleging that between 2009 and 2024, he knowingly transported individuals interstate and internationally, with the intent they engage in prostitution. The indictment claims he willfully caused the transportation of female victims and commercial workers multiple times. Many believe Diddy's arrest and indictment were triggered by horrifying footage obtained by CNN in 2016, showing him physically abusing ex-girlfriend Cassie. The video captures multiple angles of the assault, where Cassie alleges Combs punched, kicked, and stomped her repeatedly during their relationship. Though the lawsuit was settled shortly after filing, Cassie used New York's Adult Survivors Act to speak out about her trauma, stating she will carry it for life. In the video, Cassie exits a hotel room and heads toward elevators when Diddy, holding a towel, chases her down, grabs her by the back of her neck, throws her to the floor, and kicks her while she is motionless. He drags her briefly by her sweatshirt before walking away. After the video surfaced, Diddy publicly apologized, saying he was in a bad place, sought therapy, and has since recovered. However, Diddy's legal troubles didn't end there. On February 26, 2024, Lil Rod filed a lawsuit alleging he was subjected to unwanted advances by Diddy's associates at Diddy's direction while staying at the rapper's house. He also claims Diddy forced him to have sex with workers. Lil Rod's court document alleges Diddy hosted trafficking parties with underage women and illegal drugs, implicating record label executives who financially benefited from access to celebrities and dignitaries, including the British royal Prince Harry, though Harry is not accused of wrongdoing or attending these parties. Lil Rod's lawsuit feels like a vast and deep pit aimed at burying everything Diddy has worked for. But more allegations emerged. In November 2023, shortly after Cassie's lawsuit, Joey Dickerson Neal filed a lawsuit claiming Combs assaulted her and secretly recorded the abuse while she was a college student in 1991. She described the abuse, left her physically incapacitated, and alleged Diddy showed the recording to friends and associates. Though she reported the case to police and prosecutors in New York and New Jersey, she says witnesses feared retaliation and loss of business opportunities if they supported her. Since November, 3 more women have come forward in lawsuits in the Southern District of New York alleging abuse by Diddy, with 2 claiming they were minors at the time. These are dark and troubling times ahead. If you want to know more, click the card showing on your screen for additional videos.